Um. Okay. 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 All right, guys. So let's get into this. James Charles, fucking acting sus again, Doug. All right. So James Charles apparently decided it was a good idea to interact. As I interact, you know what I'm saying, with a 16-year-old. He's 21. Okay. Now, here's the thing, because there's a lot to this. Because on the surface, right, we're gonna read his apology, and you're like, oh, it's not so bad, blah blah blah. Basically, this is the my understanding is the second time. Last year in June, he was caught talking to a 14-year-old. He's 21. He may have been 20 at the time, and his argument was like, oh, they lied about their age. They said they're 18, blah, 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 which seems to be like substantiated, right? It doesn't seem like they ever, well, I mean, there's no proof that he told him his age, whatever, or told him that he was actually 14. Here's the thing. First of all, we could go with the pretty obvious argument that like you should know what a 14-year-old looks like, but let's say he made a mistake, right? Which is what the public did. You made a mistake, right? Moving forward, the choice, moving forward, you should be correcting that mistake. And in his apology, he actually makes an argument that he was correcting his mistake, right? He talks about in here specifically that he, from that point on, right? He talks about how he always IDs or asks for a passport, right? And that's the part that I think everybody's missing. Because this is a situation where a lot of people are like, oh, well, the kid didn't tell him the age, blah, blah, blah. My whole thing is, why in this one specific situation did you all of a sudden forget to ask ID? So let's read this. Papa gut. All right, let's read this here. All right, here we go. So this is his response to the allegations. So it says trigger warning, grooming and pedophilia. Thank you so much, Joe Robe, for giving us the trigger warning. There's a video going around about me on TikTok and Twitter of a guy calling me a groomer, and I want to address it right away. The accusation that I have groomed this person is completely false. Now, just there, grooming is an interesting term. Grooming is basically like getting somebody ready to interact with. Usually grooming is done to like young kids and then to wait till they get to a legal age for like adults to start interacting with them. So I feel like we're kind of throwing the word grooming around a lot for whatever reason. I don't know if it's necessarily the correct term here, but he's definitely engaging in a very inappropriate situation. Anyway, last week I came across someone on my Instagram Explore page, saw he followed me, and then added him on Snapchat, right? I guess the person followed him a long time ago and added him on Snapchat. The next morning, I woke up to several snaps from this person. Being excited, I added him back, saying he loved me. Really quick, I want to do like a side note. And I wanted to talk about Call Me Carlson or whatever the hell his name is, okay? This kid was canceled for being 19, engaging with a 17-year-old. Mutual sexting relationship, right? When you look at the full DMs, totally mutual. There's really no problem with it. And once people were completely debunked on like the age narrative, because they're like, oh my God, he's texting minors. And it's like he was 19 talking to a 17-year-old. All of a sudden they pivoted to like this, you should never date your fans shit, which is total bullshit to me. Like, right? Like you should be able to date your fans. I mean, like you've earned like some form of equitability. Somebody liking you more because like you're famous isn't like, it's not an like abuse tactic. When you start talking about power dynamics like this, it gets like really wonky because like if you're like, oh, somebody has like just on a fundamental level, if you're like, well, this person has admiration for you, so you can't engage with them because it's predatory. Well, I mean, like, if I feel like that, how far does that go? Because like, oh, somebody, let's say, you're a nerd and you have a crush on a popular girl. Well, you have admiration for that girl. She doesn't know who you are. Is that predatory? You'd probably say no. I think it's a bullshit narrative. However, if you're going to be that kind of like person who's like, oh, I think that it's predatory for somebody to engage with or for celebrity to engage with their fans, this right here is, a celebrity engaging with his fans. So why is nobody talking about that angle? Why is nobody losing their shit? I mean, the kid said he loved him, right? He loved him. So that means that's a rather deep amount of admiration, a little creepy too. So I feel like, where's the energy? Where's the energy, bro? Where's the anti-Carson energy? Right? He's doing the same thing, sexting, sending in inappropriate pictures. Where is everybody? Where are you guys? Anyway, and also lewd photos of himself in the shower. Okay, right. I asked him how old he was right away, and he told me 18, so I started flirting back, right? And I know a lot of people, this is the point of defense. They're like, well, he said 18. Okay, Well, we know now, after your last run-in with a 14-year-old, that you need to establish age in a very, severe way. In the excitement of meeting somebody I thought it could be potentially great, which is weird. He's like, hey, this guy sent me his dick in the shower. So now this person's like, do you see, this is very victim-y language. Like James Charles is like, oh, I thought I might have found love from this person. So it was acceptable for me to bypass a reasonable process of asking for identification. That's what he's doing. The excitement of meeting somebody I thought could be potentially great. And the exciting of meeting somebody I could maybe fall in love with. It's a reasonable that I didn't ask for a copy of his ID. He doesn't say that, but it's like I didn't ask for a copy of his ID and passport. It doesn't make sense. You have set a standard that you ask for an identification and a passport, and then all of a sudden you decide this is like the time that you're not going to. It seems very suspicious to me. And this is the point I think people should really focus on more than anything else. Because I feel like this is really like the hard point, is that James Charles is telling people that like it was justifiable for him to break this very reasonable rule of asking for identification, especially when somebody looks young, because he might have found his love of his life, bro. You understand what I'm saying? This is the point people should be focusing on. That he conveniently bypassed. Like, why this time? Why is this the time you decided, I'm going to say YOLO? I don't know. It's suspicious. It doesn't make any sense. And, like, you're a celebrity. Like, if this was, like, a sweaty, greasy loser, it still would be disgusting and predatory. But, like, okay, you're a loser that's desperate. This dude is a fucking celebrity. He doesn't have problem talking to dudes. So, like, there's nothing that you can defend him with. Just being honest here. It's now clear, based on the video he uploaded, he was taking photos of me with another device and had an ulterior motive from the beginning. Later in the day, he said a few things that made me question the validity of his original age answer, and when I asked him to confirm his age once again, he admitted he was 16. So after James Charles... Let's actually decipher what James is saying. Hey, after I had post-nut clarity, that's what he's really saying. All of a sudden, I was concerned with his age again. That's what happened. James Charles was like, oh, I had post-nut clarity, so now I was like, oh shit, something's not right. It was okay when I was fucking cranking it, but now, you guys know. If you're a man in the chat, you know about the PNC, okay? You know about the PNC. All right, hits you fucking hard. So all of a sudden he got that PNC, and he got the kid to admit that he was 16. I told him I was really uncomfortable and apologized for flirting, but he insisted on continuing talking, saying it could be our little secret. You see, this language is very suggestive, right? So he's like, I told him I was uncomfortable and I apologized. Like, oh, I put the blame on me. I said I'm sorry and I was uncomfortable, but he insisted on talking to me. You understand, like, that language? He's really trying to like subtly put the blame on him. And I understand this kid, and maybe he was trying to set James Charles up. But again, James Charles already got his pass. He already got his fuck up pass, right? This is just another fuck up. But he insisted on talking to me. Continuing talking. Saying it could be our little secret. This guy, right? He's like, oh wow, what a shitty person. That's what you're expected to think. This guy's a piece of shit. He's a fan of mine and would never tell anyone. I told him I wasn't okay with this. I'm the hero of the story. I was not okay with this. And he started getting upset. How could he, right? He got upset. And at this point, I unfriended him. We haven't spoke since. I'm not a victim. I'm not victim blaming or anything, or victimizing myself either. You kind of are with your language. Simply sharing what happened. See, that basically is like, I know that I just like tried to frame myself as like the hero of the story and him like the villain, but I didn't actually do that. That's what he's saying here. And what happened was not okay. After false allegations like this in the past, I would never knowingly engage with anyone underage and put my life on the line for a few Snapchats. That's the problem. That's what's so suspicious. After false allegations in the past, I would never knowingly engage with anyone underage, but you kind of did. Right? Because you bypassed your normal established process that you told us. Right? You bypassed your normal process. You're like, this time, this kid's... Basically, James Charles like, this kid's too sexy for me to confirm his age. That's like the pretty reasonable... That's what happened. He's like, this kid's a little too sexy. I don't think I should confirm his age. I don't think I should ask for his ID. So, honestly. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Where were we? Put my life on the line. Yeah, no. And also, I feel like James Charles knows he'll get away with it. I don't know what it is. Well, I think I have a reasonable knowledge of why he got away with it. Because of situations like this, instead of taking someone's word for it, I will now ask to see their ID or passport of every guy I have a conversation with. That's the problem. You already said that you do that up here, right? Because you said because he was because I might have found love, I didn't ask for his ID or passport. Okay. That's the thing. You've already established that was your normal go-to process, was asking for ID. And then down here, it's like, oh, well, I normally do that already, but now I'm going to make sure I always do. It's like, dude, how many fucking times do you have like that? Can you like mess up and like get away with it? And that's the problem, bro, is he's going to get away with it. What he's done here is worse than what Carson did, right? Carson didn't even do anything wrong. That's how it's worse, right? Would I say James Charles is a predator? I don't know necessarily about the predatory aspect. But James Charles is certainly too comfortable breaking his own rules of engagement, right? I don't think celebrities have to stay away from their fans, but as a celebrity, you do need to be more careful, right? You need to confirm a motherfucker's age, okay? Confirm, boy. Confirm, right? 5-year age difference. Gross. You really should just be engaging with 18-year-old. And you have every opportunity to do with anything else. Like, you could go after whatever guy you want. You're fucking James Charles, right? And it's crazy because he's totally going to get away with it. And, like, I feel like, this is silly, but, like, part of it's just because he's more attractive to people. It's like, oh, it's James Charles, right? You know, I don't know what the hell it is. Like, I guess he's more attractive. Like, everyone, like, even in my own chat, people are going like, oh, he could groom me. Oh, and like James Charles, it's a floating meme around the internet of like James Charles is the only guy anybody will sleep with. So like he's gonna get away with it. Like he's gonna keep going. He's gonna have some other dumb bullshit, and it's gonna get more suspicious. This is like shitty. I don't know. James Charles is kind of a bad guy. He's a bad guy. I think he's a bad guy. He's kind of done some shitty things in the past. Like he's only 21 and he's already a piece of shit. How? It's crazy. Right? So